All right, so I mentioned in my previous video on the storage solution for Food Chain Magnate that you really shouldn't be using paper money, and you shouldn't. Paper money's terrible. Don't use paper money. If you value your own time and the time of others and the annoyance involved with using paper money, you should invest in some poker chips. So I thought I would show you my poker chip setup because I do get asked about these a lot when I play games. And yeah, so first I'm going to show you the setup that I use the most by far is my mini poker chips. So these chips come with me everywhere. They are about that size. They fit in a big pocket. I can fit them in like a jacket pocket. I can fit them in a backpack pocket. They fit in a lot of games, so they're about the size. Normally I can fit them in like a lot of game boxes, so I can just put them in that. It's pretty good. So the chips themselves are plastic. They come from discountpokershop.com. You can just search for mini chips. I'll put links in the description to all of this stuff. But they're perfectly fine chips. A little lighter than your clay chips, but you know, they work for the task at hand. They are great for games like Indonesia, John Company, games where you need smaller chips because big chips are just too big for either the player mat or the board. If you're putting chips on the board in John Company, Indonesia, you both have to put chips on the board, and with big chips, they're just too big. They're about the size of, you know, your typical cardboard money, so they work out pretty well. And you can get them on there for $3 for 50. So each of these is 25 sets. So this is $3 for this 50. So 50, 50, 50, 50, and then I have 25 here. Why exactly these chips and these denominations in this setup? So this chip tray I got from Jose at, I believe, Fun Board Games is his store on Etsy. If you just search for chip tray, again, I'll include a link to the description, but on Etsy you'll find it. I had this custom made for me a few years ago, and I wanted this exact setup. So I wanted this exact setup because I wanted 225 chips. And why that setup exactly? Well, as I said, I get $3 for 50 for 5 denominations. So these are 1s, 5s, 20s, 100s, and 500s. This is... I'm not going to go into too much detail as to why I chose those denominations. Essentially, you can read J.C. Lawrence's, aka Clear Claw's, whole thing about chip denominations on his Board Game Geek profile. I'll include a link to that as well. This is just the most efficient denominations I've found. So this is... So 100 is 5 times, 500 5 times 100, 100 is 5 times 20, 20 is 4 times 5, 5 is 5 times 1. So they're about evenly spaced. When you're making change, when you're creating different stacks, there's really only one way to do a lot of things, or one optimal way to do a lot of things. So you don't have a lot of dirty stacks of different denominations. There's only 5 colors to remember. It's pretty easy. I don't have denominations on them. That annoys some people, but I like them without denominations. I may add denominations at some point just because it does annoy a lot of people. but you know, I like the fact that I can change the prices if I wanted to. I usually don't, but and these are fairly close to standard colors. So ones are usually white. I know they can be blue on occasion, but they didn't have white, so I went with gray. Reds are usually 5s. Yellows, there's a lot of controversy. I'm not going to go into a lot of the poker chip, you know, thoughts out there. There's a bajillion videos on different and threads on BGG and elsewhere on different things, but I went with yellow. Yellow is pretty standard for 20s, and black standard for 100s, and purple standard for 500. So these are fairly standard poker chip colors. So this is 18,800 chips, or if you add up the denominations, which is enough for a game of 18xx, which I play a fair amount of. It's not enough for the bigger 18xx games. So for example, Hearthstone requires a 40,000, recommends a 40,000 chip set. So I have 2. This also works great if you have, if you need them, you know, on opposite sides of the table. You can just do that. Again, it doesn't increase the size very much more, so I can take both of these somewhere and again still fit them in 2 pockets, or you know, it's still pretty easy. So yeah, they work well for any gaming situation that I have encountered. The biggest of 18xx games, I play this with 41 for 17. Hearthstone, haven't had a problem. With one chipset, you do run low on the ones and the 5s and perhaps the 20s. It's better to have 75 of each. I believe JC's recommendation is roughly around 75 of the 1s, 5s, and 20s. This serves in a pinch. It's again, I have a second set if I need more. But for most games, I have found this to work okay. So yeah, and you know, the size is great. The size is perfect for my needs. I play most of my games outside of the house. I don't have a car. I bike everywhere, so I can't carry around a giant a giant case of chips. This works great for me. It works great for when I travel. I travel a lot for board game conventions, and this works wonderfully. If you don't like mini poker chips, I have an actual set of chips. So this is, and as you can see, an Apache 1800 kind of Pelican knockoff case. I looked at different cases, and this was just what seemed to work best for me. So if I open this up, I have a set of chips in here. So I'm gonna take this out, and those are my regular poker chips. So these are Milanos. Again, I'm not gonna go over too much the exact chips, why I chose the chips. There's many videos out there on poker chips, many threads. You know, do your own research. It's a very personal preference. I chose these chips because of, well, they're classic. You'll see Milanos come up a lot. I like the edge spots. I like the kind of mold design. The price is good. I got these. I think I got 75 of each color, and then I got so I got 75 of white, red, and yellow, and then I believe 50 of black and 25 of purple, which is a slightly better denomination than I have for these. So that totals to, I believe, 300 chips. So that's a pretty standard 300 chip set. And again, that'll meet all of your needs for pretty much any board game that you play. So yeah, I like these. I like the EdgeBot design better than, say, the Majestics, which is another one that you will see a lot. The quality's pretty good for the price. I think I got these for like $100 total. So that's about, 30 some cents a chip. I did pre-order the new set that Apache Poker Chips is doing that are specific to board games. They will have denominations. Again, I like them okay without the denominations, but a lot of people don't. Yeah, I'll include a link to that as well. Probably won't keep these. To be honest, I don't use these that often. Again, they aren't as portable. They don't work as well for all the games. They're kind of bigger. I've been using these for years now, and the feel of little poker chips and the ease of little poker chips when you're putting them on charters and things and just on different games, they are more flexible. But some people just prefer the feel of nice. These are China clays. They like the feel of these better than just plastic chips. So I went with these. This is I believe a Bribelli chip tray. I don't like the chip tray all that much because they don't have the troughs, right? They just have like a little spacer here. And it means that the chips don't stay upright as easily. But they were the only tray I could find that had it in rows of 25s. Most chip trays just have rows of 20. Why do I want 25? Because I have 75 chips. So 75 chips divided by 25 is more even than 75 chips divided by 20. So as you can see, I have 3 sets here, and that's gonna work out for the 300 chips that I have. Putting 300 chips in a set of 20s won't work the same way. I would need 4 trays, and it wouldn't fit in the thing, and it wouldn't be as portable. So I went with this set of 4x25s, just more organizationally more efficient, and it works for me. It works well enough. So yeah, I have the Bribelli 4x25 case, these Milano chips, and I have it all in this kind of Pelican style knockoff case. So the case comes with a lot of this stuff. So this is kind of just foam that you can kind of tear off to meet your needs. I removed almost all of the foam. I kept, you have just enough in here to fit everything. Yeah, so this turned out to be almost the perfect size. So I just put these in here like that. And right, close this up. It's a little tight, but it works. This is, waterproof. It's pretty much protects against anything you would need protection. Really heavy. I usually do not take these anywhere. I mean, I'll occasionally take them with me to, a local con, but usually these are my, my chips for when I'm playing at home, and people insist on having bigger chips. I usually ask people, do you want to play with the little chips or the big chips? And people want to play with the big chips because they're more, I don't know, for most people they're better. But yeah, I have both of these options for poker chips. Usually use these, and that's what I prefer. Works really well for me, and I think it would work well for you too. All right.